You Chucky heads who have been watching me do these breakdowns every episode, I keep saying, I want to know Chucky's plan. I want to know what he's doing. What's going on? 2 episodes left. Jaw to the ground with that finale. Chucky's plan is awesome. Hello, Chucky fans. Thanks so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chucky Boy. Episode 7 of the Chucky TV series has now premiered, and here we finally get a taste of what Chucky's plan is. This entire time, I was not disappointed, and trust me, I thought I was going to be close to being disappointed with them literally waiting to almost the last episode to reveal it. So what I'm going to do here for you guys is giving you my breakdown of the Chucky TV series, pointing out little Easter eggs you might have missed. Honestly, just my spoiler review and recap of this episode. But I'm also need the cult, you Chucky heads down below, to give me your opinion. What do you think of this reveal about Chucky's plan? I know some people are a little bit confused to what exactly went down. I will explain it all, as well as give me your thoughts and predictions to how the series could end next week. And just as a quick shameless plug, some of you guys know I've been dealing with a little situation with my Twitter account where I had to restart and make a whole new one. So if you Chucky heads out there would do Chucky Boy a huge favor and go follow that new account, it would mean the world to me. But now that aside, so with the opening for episode 7 of the Chucky TV series, we find ourselves at the wake for Aunt Bree, where the Wheeler household is suffering in pain at her loss, with everyone in town still believing she committed suicide, even though we know it was actually Chucky who pushed her. But Jake and his family aren't the only people currently suffering, as we see outside. Jake goes ahead and sees Devon coming in to pay his respects, but the show begins to reveal to us what Devon is currently feeling right now, dealing with the aftermath of losing his mom, surprising Jake a little bit and making it clear that he kind of just wants to give up on the situation and does not wish to pursue Chucky any further because he's already lost everything he could, his mom. But just as the trio is having their conversation on what to do next, we see Junior storming out of the house, making a straight target for Jake, taking it a step further and punching Jake in the face, having his father come in to break the two up, right at the exact time that Tiffany Valentine decides to crash the funeral, walking up to Logan Wheeler, Jr.'s father, paying her condolences and giving him one big kiss. Now, a lot of us saw this in the preview for this week's episode, and we were all wondering, oh, is this the connection that Chucky has to the Wheeler family? Is Tiffany like an old love interest of Logan? When we really come to find out that no, they're not connected at all, and Logan just fell victim to Tiffany's beautiful charms, where I think any straight man is not going to be denying a kiss from Tiffany. Bringing us to this week's title card that is just Easter egg filled with tombstones of Chucky's victims, where we have Bree Wheeler, Jake's aunt, Kimberly Evans, that's Devon's mom, Lucas Wheeler, that's Jake's father. We have Oliver Hayden, the classmate of Jake. We have Sarah Pierce, that's actually Nika's mom, who was killed off in Curse of Chucky. Howard Fitzwater, that was actually the wannabe goth guy who was trying to get at Tiffany in Bride of Chucky. Down here we have Tony Gardner, who is actually one of the puppeteers and tasked with creating a lot of the Chucky dolls in this series, but was actually killed in Seed of Chucky. Eddie Caputo, who we got to see the origin of how Chucky met him in this series. Even pulling back a little further, you have Redman, the rapper who was killed in Seed of Chucky. I'm sure there's a plethora of other names and victims from Chucky's past, but that's all I could see on my screen for now. From there, we cut to a flashback scene of Chicago in 1988, and this should be a pretty significant year for Chucky fans, because 1988 is the year the first Child's Play movie came out, essentially when that first movie took place. So it seems now we're finally leading up to events that led Charles Lee Ray to eventually end up in that Chucky doll, where we see Charles and Tiffany moving into their first apartment in Chicago. I'm going to be really curious to see how they connect this in next week's episode, because Chucky fans should know that around the same time, Chucky kidnapped Nika's mom and was hoping to start a family with her right before he ended up getting caught by the police. So we'll see if they blend that in here. From there, we get back to our legacy characters, Andy Barkley and Kyle, who are still on their way to Hackensack, New Jersey to go help out Jake. I thought it was really interesting. After all these years, we still get a little bit of character development from these characters that we've known for so long. Like one I wasn't expecting. Turns out Andy Barkley is a bad driver, so bad Kyle is afraid to let him take the wheel. But when our legacy characters stop at a gas station here, we get a minor little Easter egg to the events of Child's Play 2, where if you remember, Kyle was a smoker, to at one point Andy being so curious that he took his first little puff of smoke at a young age, with Kyle Kyle cautioning him that he shouldn't do that because those things will kill you. And then we have Andy here repeating those same words to Kyle, who seemed to have not given up smoking. But now that our characters have filled up on gas and are getting ready to go back on the road to Hackensack, Andy takes one more look at the picture of Kyle and her current partner, realizing that this could be a very dangerous mission, and Andy has put enough people in his past in danger that he wishes not to do that to Kyle, who he actually sees as a sister, making the hard decision to leave her behind and Andy to move forward on his own. I know this is a decision that might be a little controversial amongst fans, but I think it fits in line with the Andy character, and I've really loved what Don Mancini has done with adult Andy. So far, my favorite moment with Andy as an adult is still what he did in Cult of Chucky, where he was put face to face with Nika, who has already been taken over by Charles Lee Ray, and the man doesn't hesitate 1 second to pull the trigger to kill off Chucky. And now over here, the difference that we see with someone he actually grew up with, has a history, sees as a family figure, remembering all the people that Andy's put in danger in the past, he realizes he doesn't want to do that. And I really hope Don Mancini is not setting up for the death of Andy Barclay, because that would break my heart. From there, we cut to Devon, who is packing up his belongings in his house, getting ready to move in with his aunt and uncle. As this is happening, Jake walks in to try and talk to Devon, because he obviously sees that he's troubled, where we get further elaboration that Devon is just done with this detective life, does not want to get involved with Chucky anymore, and I felt like this was really strong character change for Devon, but it actually worked. Like, the man lost everything he could with his mom. We gotta remember, he's still just a kid, and as brave as he is, I think that's a tough situation to go through. Even more heartbreaking when we find out that he can't even stay living with a family member like his aunt, and he'll most likely end up at a foster home and have to live somewhere else with strangers. Even more heartbreaking when you realize this is basically the breakup between Devon and Jake. It just really goes to show you, once Chucky gets involved, man, your life just gets ruined. Cutting away from that, we're back into the Wheeler household, where Junior is confronting his father, wanting to know exactly who that lady was that he kissed right outside their house at his mom's funeral, with the father possibly telling us the truth right now that he has no idea who Tiffany is, and is really more focused on just getting drunk right now. Leading us to follow Junior going upstairs, where he comes in contact with Chucky for the very first time, where it seems like Chucky wants to come alive, and wanting to take advantage of Junior and all this rage he has built inside of him to manipulate him into some killing. As that conversation's going on, we cut to the mayor, who is having a press conference trying to deal with all the questions that is surrounding the town right now of all these freak accidents that have been happening, and the mayor has a couple of solutions. One, she is still dead set on making Miss Fairchild the science teacher for the trio, the prime suspect for these killings, wanting to prosecute her for all of them. And second, her solution to move past all this is to show a screening of Frankenstein for the town, teasing that there will be a celebrity guest appearance showing up, and I think it's pretty obvious who that celebrity guest is. It'll be Jennifer Tilly. Now the show decides to cut back to that conversation that Junior and Chucky are having with each other, and I gotta admit, as a fan watching this show kind of go down, it was kind of weird just to accept the fact that Junior is okay with a Chucky doll being alive and talking to him. You would think he would kind of put two and two together and realize that all the murders going around right now are because of Chucky and not his cousin Jake, but I guess that's something we have to forgive right now, because he's dealing with a foggy cloud of his mother's death and hating on his dad right now, and Chucky is using that to his advantage with wanting to call his dad a cheater and a bad husband, and it's the reason that it led his mother to commit suicide, hoping that Junior will take all this anger and frustration and finally use it to kill somebody off like Chucky has been trying to do all season. As Junior is getting the final bit of advice from Chucky, we do see that Jake has decided it's probably best that I leave everyone behind, because maybe all of this is happening because I'm around everyone, doesn't want to cause any more pain, and decides to run away. And as Jake is making his way downtown to the bus station to find a new place to live, we do see that Devon gets one last bit of detective spark in him, where he decides it might be a good idea to go check out Chucky's childhood home for a bit of clues to figure out what exactly is going on. Segueing us to another flashback scene in Chicago of 1988, where we're starting to see some of the cracks in Chucky and Tiffany's relationship, like what usually happens when they spend too much time together. And Chucky did the unthinkable and cheat on Tiffany with killing someone else without her being present. present. I thought this was kind of funny and cheesy the way they were playing that off. Like, when was the last time you took me for dinner and a murder? Just like couple goals to the fullest right here, but I assume Chucky running off right now is probably him headed to his second family, aka Nika's mom, who he has locked away. That will in turn eventually lead him to getting chased by Detective Mike Norris and ending up in the toy store where he confronts the good guy doll that he'll have to possess. Back in the present though, we see that Junior is outside his house as Tiffany Valentine has decided to pull up in character as Jennifer Tilly, the superstar. And it's also worth pointing out the Easter egg here that Tiffany's character brought Swedish meatballs. If you remember in Bride of Chucky, that's actually one of Chucky's favorite dishes that Tiffany makes. And now we kind of see that coming back into the show. We go back to what Jake is doing in town, waiting for his transportation to leave the city when he sees someone walking with a good guy doll box. Him deciding to follow the man and bribe him into giving him the doll and where it was going to, believing that it's probably already possessed by Chucky to where he even tries smashing the doll, but as of right now, it looks like no one is possessing the doll at the moment. Cutting us back to Devon, who has finally made his way into Charles Lee Ray's childhood home where he finds Nika strapped and duct taped up, and something I'm still kind of confused about what exactly is going on, because last episode it seemed like Tiffany really wants to be just with Nika and not necessarily Chucky, yet Tiffany is still wanting to be pretty loyal with the plans that Chucky has right now with helping him out in manipulating Junior and doing all this stuff with Logan. Either way, Devon sees a woman in distress and decides to help her out, only for us to find out this was actually Chucky the entire time, pretending to be Nika, in what was a great little transformation of Nika doing the Chucky laugh, grabbing Devon's taser and knocking him out, strapping him to the chair. It's here where the show takes us to Lexi's house, where Jake has decided that something fishy is definitely going on with this Chucky doll, informing Lexi of everything he knows of what's going on, them finding out that this doll was actually going to be delivered to Charles Lee Ray's childhood home. Not only that, but them also finding out that's actually where Devon is currently located. They know something's definitely going up and start making plans towards heading over there. Leading us to the finale of this episode that I gotta admit I loved every second of, where we have Junior's father coming in to talk to his son, starting off with Chucky turning his head exorcist style, saying his famous line to Junior's dad. All of this back and forth building tension between Junior and his father. It was really kind of wild just to see Junior hold up Chucky to his dad that way, and even the way his dad kind of turned on him, where he started saying some horrible things about his mom, calling her a quitter for supposedly killing herself and believing the same things about his son. Like, that's when I knew, oh, this character's definitely dying, because you don't just say stuff like that in a horror movie and get to survive after it. And sure enough, right as Junior's dad is walking away, he finally makes that decision. You don't insult my mom, man. I am beating you to death with this Chucky doll. And just some of those POV shots we get of Chucky's face just getting hit back and forth on the dad, I thought were really brilliant and so well done. I could not believe that Junior actually ended up being the one to take Chucky's advice and end up killing someone. But that isn't the last of the surprises of this episode, because we finally get an idea of what Chucky's plan was this episode, and it turns out him wanting to manipulate one of the kids in Hackensack to kill somebody else was all part of a ritual. That is exactly what we're seeing go down here. We had so many fans theorize to why Chucky was so obsessed with wanting to make one of the kids of Hackensack kill each other, whether that was Jake on Lexi, or Lexi killing her parents, or Lexi's little sister killing her older sister. It wasn't because Chucky is just a sadistic killer and wants to see someone else turn bad like he does out of boredom. No, he needed to do it as part of a voodoo ritual. That's why we see as soon as Junior kills off his father, all the other Chucky dolls, ones that were in front of Devon at Charles Lee Ray's home and the one Chucky doll in Lexi's counter come to life, is because the ritual was complete of a kid killing off someone else. This was most likely needed because we were already seeing the effects of Chucky splitting up his soul in multiple parts where he couldn't even control it inside Nika, and that's why she was flipping back and forth from Nika to Charles Lee Ray. Chucky came to Hackensack, the same place he was born a killer, to try and raise another another one. The only thing left to wonder right now is if that's 100% what Chucky's plan was, or that was only half of his plan and he's gonna complete the rest in the next episode, because we do know what he wanted to do, but now the reason why, is he still trying to get revenge on someone else? Or is this just all he wanted to do and now next week is just gonna be a complete bloodbath? Last thing I'll say is I was so scared I was gonna be disappointed with the motives of Chucky this season, because I'm like, they were just waiting too long to reveal it. I didn't think it was gonna be satisfying if any one of these characters turned out to be a childhood bully or something that he had to get revenge on, but now knowing exactly what he was trying to do and it was in front of our eyes the whole time, I'm like, yo, this show's good. But I'm gonna leave it up to you, Chucky fans. What did you think of episode 7 of the Chucky TV series? Do you like this little reveal? What do you think of them expanding out the voodoo lore a little bit? Anything and everything, be sure to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.